Hello, everyone. Good evening. It's Sunday once again. It's now gone 7, or it's 1 minute till 7 p.m. here in the UK, which means it's 2 o'clock in the morning in Manila, Monday morning. I hope some of you, my dear friends, are still up, or maybe you had to get up early to do some work, or I hope you're joining us today. So, welcome to another episode of Ask the Drummer. I'm really glad that today's guest said yes to Ask the Drummer. It's actually, to be honest, it's short notice, and I saw them play in Manchester recently, and also for my friends in the Philippines, they played at a Barrio Fiesta in Nottingham, which is unbelievable. And I'm going to ask him about that later on in the show, but he's here now. So, my dear friends, please welcome Rob Green. Yay!
Technology works.
How are you?
I'm all right. I'm good, thank you. Very well.
Thank you so much. Again, thank you so much for saying yes to Ask the Drummer. And I'm really sorry it was short notice, but I know that you've just finished your tour.
We have. We do. Yeah. It wasn't a very long tour. We're only out for about 3 weeks. But we don't. As a band nowadays, we don't tend to tour in blocks anymore. Now we do. We do a lot of festivals. So the majority of the work we do is festivals, and then when it's not the festival time, we do a lot of stuff which sort of shows here and there. When we were asked, and we thought it was about time that we put together a block tour, which has been really good fun. It's been really nice. It's nice just to sort of play night after night after night after night, rather than play 2 festivals on a Friday and a Saturday and then go home for the rest of the week and then come back again the following week and play 2 festivals and go home. And it's nice to actually be able to get a bit of a flow going and get into it. It's been fun. It's been good.
Yeah, you were in London the last night of the tour. It was in London last night, but there's like 13 dates.
Yeah, it's not really a lot to moan about, but we are getting old now, so 13 nights on the trot, it's
So are you glad that it's over now?
No, not at all. We all thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I say, we haven't toured like that for quite a while, so it was just nice to just get into a routine of playing every night after night after night, and
and then the festival season, now that it's summer, will you be doing?
We did a festival in down in the West Country on Friday night, a couple of nights ago, and it was cold and rainy and muddy. But it was only the Cornish or the could do a festival so early in the year. But it was fun. It was good. It was letting us know what we're in for, basically.
Oh, right. Well, anyway, so welcome to Ask the Drummer. Episode 169 is all about you, Rob Green. Wow. So we'll start from the very beginning. So where are the Greens from?
The Greens?
Yeah.
Wow, I don't think I've ever been asked that in an interview. I think we're a bit of a mix of Welsh and Scottish and English. I think I'm half English, a quarter Welsh and a quarter Scottish. How that works, I have no idea.
Oh, right. And well, the band Toploader is from Eastbourne, but you said before we came on live that you're not actually from Eastbourne.
We were all living in Eastbourne when we formed with our parents, but we weren't all born in Eastbourne. We all moved there, with our parents when we were.
So where were you born?
I was born in London.
Oh, in London. Oh, okay. So you're a Londoner then. Yeah. Because whenever I do Ask the Drummer, I always look for, say, Toploaders from Eastbourne. I always look for the famous musicians or famous bands from that place.
Yeah.
And according to Google, Toploader is the biggest band to come out of Eastbourne.
Yeah, I mean, there was a band in the 80s called the Mobiles, who had a couple of top 40 hits.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I think we're probably the only sort of household name successful band that's come
Yeah.
out of Eastbourne. You know,
The Mobiles, like, they were new wave. It's
they were
they
new
are
wave.
new
Yeah,
wave
yeah,
now.
real sort of, yeah. That's right. Yeah, back in the 80s, Drowning in
Yeah.
Berlin, and
John, yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. I've got a 7-inch single of
there
that.
you
That's
go. Yeah, I
all.
remember being. I remember they came to my Mow Market in when I was at school, and just being so in awe of these pop stars that were at my little junior school fete.
Yeah,
You know, and they all, yeah, they had all the eyeliner, and I think I met, I got to know them as Toploader became sort of more well known. They were still in Eastbourne, so I kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
I'd bump into them, and in, you know, a couple of them, and they'd be like, "We were in the Mobiles." And I was like, "Wow, I love you. You're great." Yeah. Bar that, I can't think of any other bands that come from Eastbourne.
no. But well, the time that you're sort of like able to go to gigs and get involved in music, were you already living in Eastbourne or were you still in London at the
No,
time?
I was in Eastbourne. I was in
In Eastbourne
Eastbourne. So
already.
yeah, I mean, and it was literally just watching local bands in the pub. You know,
Yeah.
that was the extent of it. And then I'd go over to Brighton, um,
Oh, I see.
and any
Yeah.
good bands that were playing. That was my introduction to sort of live music. Was going to see the likes of Depeche Mode and the Smiths,
Oh, wow.
and Gary Newman and people like that. I'm really
Yeah.
old, you know. That was my era. You know.
One mine as well. Yeah. But so there's no sort of like music scene in Eastbourne at
Um,
the time, or
at the time, though, not really,
no?
not more than a sort of relatively sleepy seaside town could have. So there would be, you know, a couple of the local nightclubs would put on a band upstairs at, you know, on a
Yeah.
Saturday night, and then you'd have a handful of pubs
Okay.
would put on bands. So we were forced. I think our first show was in Brighton, so that was
Yeah.
something, you know, we had to sort of work towards was going out of Eastbourne and then sort of Brighton for a few shows and then up to London as soon as possible because
Yeah.
it was pretty close. So,
Well,
you know.
the reason why I'm interested is because I'm originally from the Philippines, and it's fascinating to find out, you know, what was these places like in the 80s or 90s or something. That's why I was asking, you know, was it,
Yeah,
you know,
no, it was
because
lovely. It was a great place to grow up. You know, Eastbourne was lovely.
yeah,
Yeah,
because now I live in Manchester, and I know that it's always been like a. I always say that it's the music capital of the world, and that's why I want it to be here.
absolutely. Yeah, no, it's very vibrant. There's a lot happening without a doubt. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, are you from a musical family?
Um, not so, my grandmother was very musical, but she passed away before I was born. My mother had a piano in the house that she would make some strange noises on, which I don't know what. My brother was. I guess it was my brother really who introduced me to music because I could hear his music next door. You know, he would buy vinyl and I would listen through because I wasn't allowed in his room for fear of
Oh,
getting beaten. You know, so I'd listen to music through the wall and get intrigued by it. And then he was in synthesizers, so he had a few synthesizers, early synthesizers, you know, like
oh,
yeah, sort of Korg MS-10s and Wasps and Nats and all these bizarre little Roland drum machines. So that kind of and my mother, I think my mother wanted us to all play an instrument. That was it. It was kind of went hand in hand that you will play
yeah,
an instrument, but I just ended up breaking most of the instruments that I was asked to play, like guitars and trumpets and bagpipes and all sorts of bizarre things. And so, yeah, finally it was like, what can't you break? And it's like, right, I'll get you a drum kit.
oh.
Yeah.
So the drums were. It wasn't your first musical
No,
instrument. You
not really.
tried,
No, no,
yeah,
no.
you
Which I
tried
think
various.
I'm quite glad that I learned, you know, basic theory on piano and very basic guitar and very basic sort of notation, which definitely kind of made me interested in music, which then led on to me just hitting things.
Yeah. So, do you read notes when you play drums,
I
or?
don't I don't read when I play. I can read very badly, and I was forced to learn. I was to teach myself how to read because I was teaching drums for 2 or 3 years when I was living in Brighton. So I yeah. I had to force myself to. But I do very occasionally. If we're in rehearsal, I'll make notes in my own bizarre way, which resembles some form of drum notation. You know.
So you obviously had proper drumming lessons.
No, I had two. I had two drumming lessons in my life, um, and yeah, all I wanted to do as a child was just to sit behind a massive drum kit and play as fast and as loud and as aggressive as I could. And I think my first couple of drum lessons were single stroke rolls, double stroke rolls, paradiddles on a pad, and I was just like, this isn't what this isn't what I signed up for. So I went
Yeah.
home, moaned to my mother to buy me a drum kit, and then set it up in the lounge and played while she was trying to watch the television.
What about the neighbors? Are you
Um,
what are the
the
neighbors?
neighbours were all right. The neighbours weren't too bad. I think they were quite intrigued at this weird noise that was coming from my house. They were all right about it. So I had
Yeah.
a pub on one side that was pretty rowdy, and then the other side was another friend of mine anyway. So which I ended up
Oh,
in a band with. So that was all right.
would you say that playing the drums or knowing how to play it is sort of like a natural thing to you? It's like a gift that you can just play it, even though you only had like two drumming lessons.
Um, I don't know. It's an interesting question. I never. I mean, I remember being frustrated as a young drummer because I would watch people and I wouldn't know how to do things, and that was I was almost too young to work out how to do things myself. So I'd see drummers on telly and I'd want to do some of the stuff that they were doing, but couldn't for the life of me figure it out. And so I think timing, kind of, I guess to a degree, must have been a relatively natural.
Yeah,
Just having an inbuilt timing and an inbuilt clock.
yeah, yeah.
But I
Because you
think
mentioned that. Yeah,
sorry, go on.
sorry, go ahead.
I think a lot of children. I mean, I've got a son who has the most incredible. He doesn't play, and he plays guitar. But from a really young age, from about 5 or 6, I'd watch him, and his inbuilt natural timing was amazing. And I think I see a lot of very, very young children, and you ask them just to tap along in time or something,
Yeah,
and it's incredible. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure that when you're really young, you have really good inbuilt clock in you that maybe you lose a little bit when you get older. I don't know, but I've seen a lot of children with just really, really good time
yeah, yeah.
at a very young age.
Well, you mentioned that you taught drums for a couple of years. Um, your pupils, did you see that they can actually do it, and or did you sort of like think that no, this is not for you? And
No, no, it was actually at BIM in Brighton, at the British
oh
Institute
yeah,
of Modern
yeah,
Music.
yeah.
So I taught there for a couple of years. So they had to go through an induction,
Oh, okay.
which was given by me. So they had to get by me first before they were allowed to actually come to class. So they had to be able to play to a degree.
Did anyone fail, or all of them just passed?
I was too nice to them.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So, when you learned how to play the drums, what was your first band as a drummer?
I played with my brother because he was a keyboard player. So he had a friend another friend who was a keyboard player as well. So it was very 80s, very sort of, very synth-based 80s stuff. And
Yeah.
he's 5, 6 years older than me. So I just bullied my way into saying, right, well, I'm going to come and play drums at your band practice. So there was 2 synthesizers and a drum kit. And fortunately, there's no recorded history of this in the world, so no one can actually hear how horrific it must have sounded.
Oh,
But that was my.
did you have a name? Did you have a name for the band? No.
Nothing sensible like that. And then I think it wasn't until I was in school orchestras and things like that. And luckily, again, no recorded history of that. And then it wasn't until I went to college where I actually sort of there was an option thing on a Wednesday afternoon, and one of the options was be in a band, and I thought, well, I can play a bit of drums, so.
All right.
So I met a couple of other people there, and that was it. That was my Wednesday afternoon thing that we'd do, and then from there we went off and started playing pubs in Eastbourne, and
Okay.
then one thing led to another.
Yeah. So was this top loader already, or
No,
was it
no, no, no.
different?
Way before, way before.
Before, yeah.
Yeah.
And so you did gigs and
We did
played
gigs
in
in pubs,
places, yeah, yeah.
yeah, to all the college lot, and we used to do lunchtime gigs in the hall at college and all things like that.
Did you have a name?
I can't remember.
No.
I
Okay.
didn't remember it. No.
But how long did the band last?
Oh, only the year that I was at college, I think. I think it was only
Okay.
the 1 year that I managed to put up with being at college before I left. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
And are you still in touch with your bandmates, or are they gone now? You don't speak to them. No. Okay.
Not really.
Well, Aiden O'Rourke just said that sound and vision very good. We were talking about not being techie. Aiden O'Rourke is my tech support, so he said that's fine. So, yeah. So Top Loader, is it your first and only band, or
Um,
were you in another band before it?
no, this is the only band, successful chart band, record deal band that I've been in.
Yeah,
The rest of the bands were unsigned bands.
yeah.
So this
The
is
one, the one that we can actually hear what
the one.
because with the other bands, then you probably didn't have
Yeah,
any
no,
record.
exactly. Yeah, no, this is the only sort of truly successful band that I've been
Yeah.
in, such. So yeah,
So
it's been a long time.
yeah, can you tell us a bit of story about how Top Loader was formed and like the name itself, Top
Yeah.
Loader?
Okay. Well, we were. I mean, Eastbourne, like I said, at the time was not a small town, but it was a town where you knew most of the people of your age because you all socialised. There was only a certain amount of pubs and bars and what have you. And then certainly if you're a musician, you knew of other musicians in the town because you'd go and watch bands and you'd see the same people, and it was typical sort of town environment
Yeah,
where you got to know musicians. And I was in a band in London with some friends, and the singer of Toploader joined and was playing keyboards. He wasn't actually singing, and we had a different bass player who was the original bass player with Toploader. So that was how I first met Joe, the singer.
yeah, yeah.
And then he had another band in Eastbourne, and I think he was playing drums in this band in Eastbourne at the
Oh,
time.
really?
So I turned up at their rehearsal, kicked Joe off the drums, told him to get back behind the keyboards
The keyboard.
and start singing, which he duly did. And yeah, the rest is history.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went on from there, really.
Where did the name come from?
Well, I mean, if you're talking about sort of children's television and stuff like that, it's the old top load of videos and the old top load of washing machines where you put them washing in the top.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
all that
yeah.
sort of stuff. But the real name, the real sort of meaning behind the name is that yeah, people used to make joints, and they would put all the weed in the top because it was their weed, and then smoke it all and then pass it on, and that became the top loader joint. But we can't
Oh, I
say that on children's
see.
television and stuff like that.
Okay.
So yeah, it actually derived from a form of rolling joint.
But who came up with it? Who came
Oh,
up with the name?
no idea. I
No.
don't know. It derived. It was such a stupid name that we thought we'd call ourselves that name. And yeah, the record company tried to change it, and various different marketing people tried to change it, and no one could think of a better name, so it just stuck.
It just yeah.
One of those
Well,
things.
I remember because I came to Manchester in 1996,
Mhm.
and I mean I remember Top Loader because you seem to be everywhere.
Mhm.
You're like on all these
Yeah,
TV
no,
shows and
yeah,
everything. And another thing that I remember the most is Dan. Dan Hipgate seems to be like on telly because he was married to Gail Porter.
it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
it certainly was. Yeah.
So, so when I found out that you're still, because I thought the top loader were gone, that you're not playing anymore. But then last year, um, I saw on Facebook that you're headlining a Filipino Barrio Fiesta in Nottingham.
Mhm.
And I was thinking, is that like the top loader from the 90s
Yeah.
who did
Yeah.
Dancing in the Moonlight? So,
Still going. Still doing it. Yeah.
so how did that happen?
We had about, I mean, we had a lot of very large success very quickly, you know, probably too quick, largely due to Dancing in the Moonlight being such a worldwide hit, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, Everybody wants a big hit, but, you know, it did overshadow what we were about as a band to a degree, you know, when it happened, because we were desperately trying to release stuff after Dancing in the Moonlight and it wouldn't go away, and people would, everything we released, people were just like, well, it's not Dancing in the Moonlight though, is it? Like, no, it's not, but we are actually a band. So yeah, so we duly sort of stopped working together for about 4 or 5 years, because everyone needed a break anyway. It'd been, you know, quite intense. And
yeah,
then yeah, and then we just sort of, you know, you start a band because A, you're mates, B, because you have a chemistry as mates, C, because you sound good when you play together and you enjoy it, and
yeah,
you know, regardless of all the other nonsense that goes with it, you know, the root of it is you enjoy making music together, and that's what drew us back to going and getting back in a room again after sort of a 5 year break. And
yeah, yeah,
we really enjoy doing this. Why are we not doing it? You know. So we did, and then all these people started wanting to book us, like
yeah, yeah.
Filipino festivals.
So during this 5 year break, what did you do?
That's when I
Did
was
you
teaching.
continue?
Yeah, that's when I went. That's when
Oh,
I
that's
went to teach,
okay.
and Joe went to live in LA. I don't know what Dan was doing. He was doing some TV stuff. Oh, you've gone. Oh, you're back.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah,
glitch in the matrix. Yeah, so everyone just sort of, it had been a very intense sort of 4 or 5 years before that of, you know, just working every day. That I think by the end of it, we were all a bit fried and we all needed a bit of time out. So we ended up taking about 5 years out, you know.
yeah, yeah.
But now,
And
you know, it's great. We were enjoying it. We're still enjoying it now, you know. So,
yeah, did you keep in touch
yeah,
with
we
the
did. Yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah,
There's no real hard feeling. Um,
yeah.
Not too much.
Well, the current lineup, there's only the three of you. It's like the original
Yeah,
members.
yeah. The bass player went and he got very heavily into photography, and he teaches photography now. And then the guitar player went into sort of label management and record company management and band management. You know, he went to the dark side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're all very good friends. We're all still really good friends. There's,
Yeah,
you know,
so yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, when I saw you in Manchester,
Mm-hmm.
I think I was looking for the singer with curly hair
Yeah.
because that's the one.
Years ago.
I was like on dancing, dancing in the moonlight. Is this with the curly hair? But
Yeah.
he hasn't got that anymore.
He hasn't enough. I think he had enough of having to tame the curls, curly hair, and he would get recognised so much because of it. You know, that I think he just got sick of it and just said, "Right, it's coming off." So,
One thing that I've noticed though is I don't know if it's just because the factory stage
mhm.
is a bit so like smallish, but you're behind him.
I
You're
know.
behind so
You can't
and
see me. It's great.
has it always been like that? Is that always your setup that you're just behind the
Depends on the
keyboard?
size. It depends on the size of the stage. That was a particularly small stage that you saw us in. You know,
Yeah,
yeah. Usually we're a bit more staggered.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, and usually I'm on a riser as well. So, you know, most of the time I'm
yeah.
on a drum riser. So, but yeah, it
To be
doesn't.
honest,
Yeah, I'm not in it. I don't mind that. I don't mind that. I'm sure from the audience perspective, it could look a bit weird, but I don't. I'm not in it to be seen. I'm in it to be heard.
To be heard, yeah, that's right. Well, you've got to forgive me because it was my first time that I've seen Top Loader live.
Yeah.
Because when you were like super famous in the 90s, I didn't go to any of those gigs. So
No,
I didn't even realize at the time that there were grassroots venues. That's
no,
all like
no.
these. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought it was all just arenas and
Mhm.
like big
Yeah. No.
big
No.
concert halls. So yeah, so I didn't go to any of those. But then I finally got to see you, and I thought, oh wow, you did the 25th. It's the 25th anniversary of your album,
With the first album. Yeah.
your debut album, and that's the tour was about.
Yeah.
It's called Onka's Big Mocha.
One.
Onka's Big Mocha.
Yeah.
Now, when I when I saw this one, I thought it was something to do with like with the Oompa Loompas, the Charlie and the,
Oh, the Charlie and the
the
Chocolate Factory.
chocolate
Okay.
factory.
No, never heard that one before. Yeah.
Yeah. But I googled it, so it's actually they are real. This Onka person.
Yeah. Onka was was from Papua New Guinea, and he was a
Yeah,
tribal leader from Papua New Guinea, and gained power, I think, by giving things away, sheep and goats,
yeah.
and
So that's
that's
the
how he
Monka that
gained his
they do.
power. And that's his mocha. So I think
Yeah,
the theory at the time was that if we, even though we charged for it, we gave our music away, we would, feel good about it, and it was a kind of a spiritual thing, and it was the most stupid name that we could possibly come up with for an album. So just like the band name, it stuck. You know,
and apparently there was a documentary about it as
there
well.
is a
So,
documentary.
so
Yeah, if
did
you do
you
if you do
watch?
an anthropology degree, you will be forced to watch the Onkas documentary. Apparently, not that I'm an anthropologist.
Okay, so which one of you actually got to watch it, or did you all watch the
And no, it
documentary?
was the original guitar player did an anthropology degree, so he
I
started
see.
going on about this documentary. I have no idea why we ended up on that subject, but yeah, there was something called Onka's Big Mocha, and somebody would have said that's a good name for the album, and
Oh, because
no one could think of a
because
better name.
normally, I mean, you get to name the album by some maybe one of the songs, or maybe
I
if
know,
it's like a
yeah.
theme or
Any
something.
normal sensible band would have done exactly that, but not us.
Yeah. Well, Dancing in the Moonlight is one of the tracks, and not Onka's Big Mocha.
Yeah.
Again, this is a cover of King Harvest song.
Yeah.
Are you all fans of King Harvest? I mean,
No,
how?
no, it was a mixture of a song that we were aware of and a song that the producer George Draculius, who knew as well, and we were just looking at the time. We were looking for a sort of not poppier song, but a radio song, a definite radio song. And I think we heard it, and we used to just sort of jam it out and mess about with it. And I think the record company heard us doing that and said, right, well, you're going to record that, and which we all looked a bit confused about. And then, yeah, so finally ended up recording it. And yes, the rest is history, as they say.
Yeah. Well, with these songwriting things and royalties, and do you get royalties from it?
We get live royalties, we get radio royalties, we get massive houses, huge cars. No, yeah, we do. We do all right.
Yeah.
It's a very popular song. So yeah, if it's played on the radio, then we get about 3p each. So it's
Okay. Because what reminded me of is like when the Soup Dragons did "I'm Free," which is like a Rolling Stones song.
yeah,
That
yeah.
I think, well, from as far as I know, that they're not getting any royalties from it because it's the
Yeah,
Rolling
you
Stones.
get if it's them on the radio, they'll get their PRS money for it, or if it's on the TV, they'll get, or if it's streamed, if their version
Yeah.
is streamed. But if whoever wrote it, if somebody buys it in a physical format, then the guy that writes it gets the lion's share of it. So yeah, Sherman Kelly would have. I think he did all right out of Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because it's been used in quite a few adverts as well. Because
it
you hear it
has.
quite a lot. That
Yeah,
song is.
yeah, it's yeah. Yeah, I have been talking about it for the last 25 years.
Because to be honest, as soon as I bought the ticket to see you, it's just it never left my mind. I was just so like singing it all the time.
Yeah, no, it has that effect, unfortunately. Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
at the gig, you also did another cover, which is the ELO song.
It's
Um,
Blue Sky.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's just another fun song. We do so many festivals
yeah,
throughout the year. Anything up to about 50 festivals a year we do, and I think over time we have come to realize that as much as people want to come and see you as a band, that's fair enough. Over the course of an hour, not everybody at that festival is going to know an hour's worth of your material. So sometimes we just like to break it up a little bit and give them something that they know. It takes
yeah.
it's a bit of fun, and it always goes down really, really well. It's just a
Well,
song that everybody's going to know. Apart from
yeah.
Dance.
Well, Aiden, my tech support, he's my husband as well. When I was listening to it because I videoed it, and I
Okay.
was listening to it when I got home, and he said that's actually a very very difficult song to cover,
Yeah.
and he said that you did really good. You know that cover that you did was really good. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think with cover versions, we don't aim to sound too much like the band that
yeah,
we're covering the song of. We want to retain the fact that we're still top loader playing that song. So, as long as we hit the right things at the right time, it usually, people can usually work out what we're doing, what song we're playing.
yeah, yeah. So I hope you don't mind me going back to the Filipino festival.
That's all right.
Because I've got loads of friends who sort of like watch it in the Philippines, so they also wanted to know. So, do you know anyone from the community, the Filipino community in Nottingham, or you
No,
just got
absolutely not.
asked?
We were asked to come and play the festival, and yeah, we turned up and played the festival, and everyone was extremely nice to us, if I remember rightly. It was
Yeah, because
and lots of offers to go to the Philippines to play from about 20 people saying, "You must come to the Philippines and play. I'm going to get you to the Philippines and play." But we haven't. So
because
wherever you are,
to
we're
be
still
honest
available.
with you, it's unusual. The reason why I was so like I was shocked when I saw it because there's so many Barry Festas in the Philippines, in the UK,
Okay,
and most of the time they get musicians or artists or actors and actresses from the Philippines.
absolutely. We were slightly confused as to why we were there, if I remember rightly. Um, because most of the festivals we do have very strange names for the festival anyway, so you can't really gauge what sort of festival it is. And then, so we thought, Philbrit, what's that going to be?
Yeah,
We have no idea what it is, Philbrit. And then we got there, everyone was Filipino, and we were kind of
yeah.
like, okay, this is interesting. But yes, it was an experience.
And what was the reception like? Were they all like dancing and
Yeah, I think so. Can't remember.
yeah?
Like I say, we do so many festivals; they all
So
come.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, I do remember it. I do remember being fed very well. That's what I remember about it. Yeah, yeah, it was an experience, not to be
Yeah,
forgotten.
yeah, that's the one thing that we really because well bands who go to the Philippines, that's what they said, they get well fed.
Absolutely.
It's like
Yeah, yeah.
it's,
No, there was a lot of food. Yes.
well, so it was good then. It
It
was a
was
good
great. Yeah,
experience.
it was great. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. So well, hopefully you will get to the Philippines because
Yeah,
Filipino
we'd
fans
love
are
to. We'd
amazing.
love to. Yeah, if those 25 people who were at the Philbrit Festival who promised to get us to the Philippines are watching,
Yeah.
still waiting for the call.
Oh, so now that the 25th anniversary of Onka's Big Mocha tour, uh, this one in April, the April one is over.
Yeah.
Is there another one
Yeah,
coming apart from the festivals?
yeah. I mean, the last tour was we found out that, well, it was largely based sort of up north or north of sort of Birmingham and upwards. So yeah, the plan is that we'll do the southern part of it once the festivals have died down. So November,
Oh, okay.
November, December, we'll do sort of the south, because everyone from the south was sort of saying, well, why are you not playing in the south? I mean, we did a London show last night, but that was sort of part of the tour, but not really part of the tour. And,
Yeah.
uh, so that's the plan, is that we come and do the West Country and, sort of down Brighton, Eastbourne, and then up to the sort of east of the country.
And
Um,
is there what about new material, new album?
we are we're writing at the moment. We're in the studio in about 3 weeks' time,
Huh?
which we're really excited about. We're going to Rack Studios in North London, which is a great studio. Used to be owned by Mickey Most, who was a
Yeah.
his producer, and it's one of those studios. It's when you look at the list of the albums that have been done there, you just go, well, not worthy. There's some absolutely incredible, from Springsteen to Radiohead to The Cure to and we actually recorded Dancing in the Moonlight there, so it's nice to go back.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, and it's just a great studio. It's just a really great studio, and we're going in with a producer that we've worked with before, a guy called Danton Supple, who's worked with Coldplay and a number of he's again has a huge CV of very impressive artists.
Yeah.
So we're really looking forward to it. We're not the most prolific when it comes to writing and recording albums. I think we're up to number 4, so this could be number 5 in a
Oh,
25-year history. We're pretty slow at doing that sort of thing.
what's your process like? Is it just Joe who does all the
Yeah, Joe will usually come up with the idea, then we'll have
yeah,
a massive argument, then he'll go away again for a while, and then he'll come back with a slightly modified idea, and then we'll have another massive argument, and then we'll take it into rehearsal and go, actually, it's quite good, and then you sort of dissect it and pull it
yeah,
apart, But I think for us, the sooner that we can get songs out live and play them, the better, because that to me is the judge of how you're playing it. Are you overplaying? Are you underplaying? What needs to go where? What sections aren't working? What sections are working? And most importantly, what the audience's reactions are, because
yeah,
you can gauge, just from not just the end of a song, but during the song, if you've got some, parts in
yeah,
a song that you're looking forward to playing because it's a good section. If you're getting a reaction from the audience when you play that and it feels good to you, it's like, well, okay, that bit will stay. And then something doesn't work, when I break into my 13-minute drum solo, then that usually gets binned. So yeah, so we're in the process of sort of doing that at the moment. Not the drum solo, but just playing some new stuff as live before we record, and then it also makes the recording process a lot easier because we know exactly where we are
yeah,
with the song before we even go and start thinking about recording it. Because inevitably it will get pulled apart and changed. But if we're all already at a point of
yeah.
understanding, that's where we like to be at.
Well, you mentioned earlier that Joe was a drummer, and then you had to
Well, yeah, he likes to. He likes to think he's a drummer. He
he's
does occasionally find him sitting behind my drum kit doing something. He's one of those guys that sits behind my drum kit, and then it's like having a child, and I get back behind my drum kit, and I'm like, "What have you done? You've just, takes the snare off, leaves the hi-hat all closed, puts my sticks back on the wrong drum." Oh, it's just, So yeah, he doesn't get long before I hear him, and then he gets the
so when you go and say record an album, for every song, has he already got the drum part, or
yeah, I mean,
you have to
yeah, it's a bit of a collaboration. Certain songs he'll send through where the drums are, he'll put a guide drum, just to, Logic drums he'll put on
Yeah.
there. And sometimes they're just, that's it, that's the natural drum beat for the song, so it doesn't need a
Yeah.
lot of work. But I'll always add my I like to think I'll always add something.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
a drummer, I like to do quite a lot of the format as well. I like to format the songs as well. So, again, if I can't get a 13-minute drum solo in, then I get really. But, yeah.
You're all very, very nice, because I met everyone, and you're brilliant with fans.
Mm-hmm.
You say hello to them, and everything. Have you always been like that, even in the 90s?
I doubt it. I mean, we don't drink alcohol as much as we used to, so I would imagine if you'd met us in 1999 after a big session, we probably wouldn't have been quite so, friendly. But no, we're all lovely lads.
Yeah.
We're all very.
I presume that the drum kit that you used in Manchester, that's yours.
That is mine.
Is that you? Can I just ask? Because oh no, because no one actually played your drum kit. It's just you.
It's just me.
Because the two support acts, one is just the singer, and then
Yeah.
the other one has got a keyboard.
That's right. Yeah.
Have you ever?
No one touches my drums. Most of the time
Have you ever shared your drum kit with another band?
No, they've tried, but I'm left-handed, so my drum kit is backwards. So it worked really, really well, especially as a up-and-coming band where you had to go into these places where you had to share drum kits. And most people wanted to use my drum kit, and I would say, you can use my drum kit as long as you can play left-handed, because I'm not swapping it round for you. So yeah, I got away with without having to have lots of other people trying to use my drums.
Yeah.
And I can, if I have to, I can play right-handed.
And do you have a drum tech?
We have technicians who work for the band.
Yeah.
But for some reason, the guitar player seems to use them a lot. So I like to do my drums anyway. I think it's a drummer thing. I think with a guitarist, and you get given a guitar and it's in tune, and that's great. But if you're a drummer, you've got so many different aspects. You've got different positions for every drum, different positions for every cymbal, and only, unless you have a full-time drum tech, which I don't really need. I like to do it myself. So
you do it? Okay.
Even when I did have a full-time drum tech, I would just still be there setting up my own drums because I quite enjoy it.
Yeah.
I like fiddling with my drums. I like making sure that they're tuned the way I like to tune them. And there's a lot of different parts to the drum kit, as so I like to make sure it's right for me. I don't trust other
people. A few weeks ago, I actually had a drummer who's also a drum tech for another drummer, and he said that the drum techs are actually very, very important, because at least the drummers themselves, they don't have to say something like something happened to them. At least they can just relax.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've had numerous drum techs, some better than others. I've had some brilliant drum techs who, just after one show know everything that you want. They set your kit up exactly the way you want it. They tune it amazingly, blah blah blah. But they're expensive and they need feeding and things like that. I can do it at the moment. I'm quite happy to do. We have, like I say, we have techs that we take with us. But yeah, I opt to do. I'm quite happy to do my drums whenever I can.
And do you? See, this is another thing that I found out when I started doing Ask the Drummers. You actually tune it.
We do have to tune them.
You tune the
drums. We do tune drums, yeah, and we don't have little pedals with lights on them that tell you when it's in tune. Drum tuning is very personal. So it's if you're a keyboard player, your keyboards are in tune all the time. But we get given a drum and a head and say, "Go on, tune it," and you're like, and that's a very personal thing, drum tuning. Some
So
people are
you
brilliant.
do your own. You do
Yeah,
your own drum
you're
tuning.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah, and some people are just brilliant. Some people have brilliant ears, and some people have really bad ears and can't tune drums at all. And I think I kind of sit in the middle. Sometimes our engineers or my front of house engineer says, "What's going on with that rack tom, Rob?" And I'm like, "What? Telling me that I can't tune my drums?" And then I listen to it and go, "Yeah, I see what you mean."
Well, another topic that I always ask. Well, I started asking the drummers, like when you do a gig,
Mhm.
and but this one, because it's the full album,
Mhm.
Onka's Big Mucker, so you have to play all the tracks from that album. But
Yeah,
if it's
yeah.
not, yeah,
Sorry.
if it's not an album gig, how
Yeah.
do you choose which songs to include in the set list?
We have, I mean, obviously the Uncle's Big Mocha tour was an opportunity to play the whole album pretty
Yeah,
much from start to finish. And bar, I think there was only one song that we left off from the album. But we would not, I mean, we have a number of different sets. If we're going to go and do a festival set, then some of the songs on that album aren't appropriate. So we'll bring in other songs from other albums. It's mainly about tempos and entertainment at a festival. You don't want to
yeah,
be playing too many weepy ballads because people will be crying into their pint glasses, or just going off to watch another band, basically. So you just, you play to whatever environment you're in. But the
and
Onkos
is
did
it
play the Onkos one because we played a lot of songs we haven't played for a long time.
yeah, is it a collective decision or is it normally the singer who
No,
decide?
it's a collective decision usually.
Yeah,
We like to
yeah,
change it up every year. Every year is like a new season. It's like the football
yeah,
season. You get some new players. You get some new players in. Some new tactics, and see how it goes. And try and win your
yeah.
games.
Well, when I was writing my script for this episode, I found out that you were the last British band to play at the original Wembley Stadium
We
before
won.
it was
It was knocked
demolished.
down. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
great.
It
That's a
was a
great thing
total
to
honour.
have,
It was
isn't
amazing.
it?
We were on tour with Bon Jovi, which
Yeah,
was
yeah,
incredible, absolutely incredible. And I think we did 3 nights at Wembley Stadium, as well as we did the whole European tour with them. So we were playing sort of 100,000 people a night all around Europe, and we were quite young at the time. Um,
yeah, yeah,
so that was in itself an incredible experience. But yeah, we got to play the old Wembley Stadium, and I remember a lot of the Bon Jovi crew taking some of the original chairs, some of the little fold down chairs that had Wembley sign on them. And they've been there since the '60s, since those chairs saw England only ever World Cup win and things like that. And we couldn't understand at the time what they were doing. It's like, why do they want all those old rubbish chairs? But now thinking about it, they're probably worth a fortune. And
yeah, yeah. It's
I,
history.
yeah, I would
Bit of
have loved
history,
to have had 3 or 4 of those in my studio. It would have been great. So we missed out on that one again. Too busy getting drunk.
though. So you have traveled all over the world.
We have.
Yeah, yeah. What's your favorite? I mean, have you been to Japan? Did you go to
We
Japan?
did the Fuji Rock Festival. Yeah, we did Fuji Rock in Japan.
Yeah,
That was incredible. Again, a lot of the big traveling that we did was sort of in the first part of the Toploader history when we were quite young and very, very busy. We were in a different country every week, and so by the time we would get to New York or to Tokyo or to Toronto, we were
yeah,
just so tired and so sick of being on the road that it sounds really bad, but I don't think we enjoyed it as much as we should have done. So now when we go to places, yeah, we try and enjoy it a little bit more, but you don't really get to see very much. You get to see the inside of an airport, then you get to see a hotel room, then you get to see a stage, and then you get to see a hotel room, and then you get to see an airport again. So we don't tend to take too much time off when you're touring because it's
yeah.
expensive. You've got to pay these drum techs who sit around eating all day, and
And just doing the tuning and
even when they're not working, they want to get paid. And eat. So
Is
So
it different now? Now, the touring nowadays is
yeah,
different from
yeah.
when
I
you were
mean, we're older. So I'd like to say we're wiser, but we're probably not. We're just older. We're all family men now, so it's yeah, it's not quite as rock and roll as it used to be these days. In fact, we're far more boring. We try to get on stage as early as possible so we can get home and go to bed. You know, but
No, I was really so like happy when I saw you in Manchester because and as I said, you're all really nice, and I was with the other girls as well, so like waiting for the band,
yeah,
and I was talking to them, and I think they follow you around. They follow
yeah,
you everywhere.
yeah. I have that problem wherever I go. Hordes, they're all outside waiting now. They're lining up down the road. Yeah, no, we don't get that many.
No, no, that's so you're all okay with that.
We're okay.
So like people,
It's
like
brilliant.
fans
Absolutely,
waiting.
yeah. Where would we be? Where would we be without them? You know.
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, thank you very much. Anyways, so what's the timeline with the album? You
I have absolutely no idea. We're going to go and record it, spend a lot of money recording it, and then realize that we've spent all our money and we've got no money to market it. So it'll probably just sit on our kitchen table, but it'll be great. It's going to sound great. No, we are. No, we're gonna. We're hoping to. We're hoping to release. We've got a couple of singles that are penned, so we'll take those to radio and see what happens. See what.
yeah,
But
yeah,
until they're recorded, we have no idea.
yeah,
There's a certain element of luck when you record. You can write great songs, but you can come out of the studio and it doesn't quite have that magic. So we're relying on the recording having an element of magic about it that hopefully will give us, will give it a chance for other people to listen to it.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's something to look forward to for
Yeah, no, we're really
all
looking
the
forward to it.
fans.
We're really
Yeah.
looking,
And speaking of festivals, have you been on Shine On Festival in Minehead, or
yeah, I think
oh,
so.
you have?
Yeah,
Oh,
yes, I think.
brilliant!
Yeah. I mean, there are very very few festivals that Toploader haven't appeared at. So, yeah, I think we did the Shine On ones. I think we've done the Shine. I think, yeah.
Yeah,
Probably
yeah,
someone will shout at me and say, "No, you haven't." But I think it definitely rings a bell.
yeah, yeah. I love Shine On. Hopefully, you'll be on Shine On again
Mhm.
soon, because
Yeah.
they do it twice a year now. There's one in Skegness, and then November.
Okay.
That's in March, and
Right.
then Minehead in November. So hopefully,
Okay.
because I like Shine On. So
Yeah. They're good fun. Those things. They're good fun.
yeah. Yeah, well, it's. I did tell you that we're going to be on for an hour, but
I
I
know.
still
It's
have.
gone very quickly.
I know it's like,
I
but I
know.
still have four regular questions that I always ask the guests.
Okay.
So one of them is like, because I didn't see you when you played, I was trying to sort of like tiptoe and see if I could watch you play.
Okay.
Do you twirl when you play?
Do I twirl? No. Well, occasionally if I'm feeling overconfident, but recently I just drop my drumstick and make a complete fool of myself. No, I'm not a twirler.
No.
I'm not really. Occasionally I'll just do one and then yeah, but it's not my thing.
Okay. But you've tried it and you not
I
really.
know how to do it, but yeah, not on a stage really. I tried. Yeah, I usually just yeah, I usually drop my drumstick and it hits a microphone and I get shouted at. So, and I make enough of a fool of myself as it is without having to do it anymore.
Next question is drumming heroes. Who are your drumming heroes?
Well, I mean, it changes all the time. I'm a big fan of band drummers. I mean, now with the internet and everything, there are some drummers online that are just incredible and do things that I will never understand what they're doing. They can play so incredibly well. But I've always been a fan of a band drummer. So Mick Fleetwood, Phil Collins.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
people like Clem Burke from Blondie, rest his soul.
Sadly, yeah,
So
sadly,
sad. So sad. Is the sole reason I took up playing drums is because I saw Blondie playing "Dreaming" on Top of the Pops, and I saw he had a huge kit at the time. I don't know why, because he usually played quite a small kit, but it was a big kit he was playing, and I just looked and I went, "That's what I want to do." So Clem and I met him a few times, and he was
yeah.
lovely. Um, Steve
He was
Ferroni,
a twirler. He was a twirler,
he
Klemberg.
was a
He was
twirler.
really good at it.
I know he was a bit of a twirler in his day. Yes, he was a twirler. Yeah. Um, Steve Ferroni from Tom Petty, Average White Band. I would probably say for a groove man and for an all-round lovely man, he's. I'd say he's probably my favorite drummer. I like a drummer who just makes me feel good when he can sit down and play the simplest beat, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
And if somebody can do that with a bunch of great musicians, you know, that's it for me. That's all I want. They can play the simplest thing in the world, but it's got that swing and it's got that groove. You know, Ian Pace from Deep Purple, he's a man who can just sit down and play the simplest beat, and you just get shivers down your spine because of the pocket that they sit in. And that's what drummers aim to get, is just to sit in that pocket. And if you
yeah.
want to see a drummer who can do that, then Steve Ferroni will just sit down and yeah. But I mean, there are some of the people like Nate Smith. I think Nate Smith's an incredible drummer. There's a drummer called Christian Eigner who plays for Depeche Mode. He's
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah,
phenomenal, just such a good drummer. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't have specific drummers that I go out of my way sort of to listen. I'm not somebody that will go out and listen to a Vinnie Colaiuta album or something like that. You know, I'm not. It's not. You know, it's
yeah,
not.
yeah,
It's never really. But I'm interested, and you know, I think they're incredible beyond belief, and you know, I will never get anywhere near that. But it's not a music that I would, you know, that turns me on. You know.
yeah. Do you still go to gigs?
Um, yeah, I do. Not many because we're working so
Yeah,
much. Um, but if someone good is playing, I will go and see them. You know, but having go and I really enjoy it because I'm usually on the other side of the fence. So it's really
yeah,
nice to go to a gig and think, oh, I haven't got to go on in half an hour. That's good. I can actually sit and enjoy it. You know, and then spend the whole time staring at the drum techs and staring at the crew and looking and seeing what sort of drum fills they're using and what mics has he got on here and being really dull. So, but no, I do. I try and go to as many gigs as I can.
yeah, yeah. And when drummers get together, do they talk drum talk? Do they talk?
Um,
No.
no, not really. They're a strange bunch, you know. I think I was at a gig. When did I play? So on Friday night in the West Country, and I had lots of drummers sort of taking photographs of my drums, and then they'd see me looking at them taking photographs of my drums and sort of look really sheepish and run away and say, "Oh, I love your snare drum," and run away. And I'm like, quite a weird bunch. They really are.
Because I don't know if you've heard or seen an article that Lol Tolhurst from The Cure. He said that all drummers are friends. Would you agree to
Yeah,
that?
no, yeah, there's yeah, every drummer that I know and that I speak to are very complimentary about each other. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
I think
And
yeah, guitarists are the little ones who just bitch about each other. Aren't they? Typical, you know. Yeah,
do you get starstruck yourself or no?
I don't know. I've met so many people over the years because I kind of been in this in a
The
small
business?
form. I've been in the business for 30
Yeah.
years, and we started off when we were, you know, our first ever support tour was with Paul Weller, who was in the audience
Oh,
when we
wow.
were. I think we did about our third or fourth show
Yeah.
ever, and he was in the audience in this little pub in London that we were playing in. and he came in the dressing room afterwards and said, "Do you want to come on tour with me?" And we were kind of like, "I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to have to ask my boss if I can have some time off work and things like that." And then on that tour, Noel Gallagher came and joined the tour. So Noel Gallagher
Wow.
would go on first and play a load of Oasis stuff on his acoustic, and then we'd go on, and then Paul Weller would go on. And at those shows, a lot of people turned up because Weller was, and still is, the it man. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so, very, very well respected musician, and his band was phenomenal. Steve White on drums, who
Yeah. Oh, yes.
absolutely blew me away. Yeah, we did a lot of, we met a lot of people very early on, and we've done quite a lot of high profile shows where we've met quite a few of the rock royalty. So I
Do
don't
you
know.
do you have photos with them?
Sorry.
Do you have photos with them?
No,
No.
not really.
No.
Not my thing. No.
No.
I
Okay.
think I've got a photo of me and Brian May somewhere. And
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
that's about as rock and roll as I get. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's not my thing. It's never been my thing.
No. Okay. Well, I think most musicians are like that. Anyways, they don't really, they
No,
don't really
we don't
photos
really do
with
that.
their fellow musicians.
Slightly confuses me that people get starstruck. It's about the music. It's
Yeah.
I mean, I get it if you're the Stones or if you're the Beatles or if you're that type of thing. But at the end of the day, it's about the music for me.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Well, next one is: have you ever had any drumming disasters or accidents in your years of playing the drums?
I fell off the back of my stool, but it was only a mime. We were miming at the Commonwealth Games opening ceremony. I don't know what year it was, and it was pouring with rain. But apparently there were 200 billion people watching it on television, and it was raining, and I was happily miming along, and I was so wet that I slipped off, actually fell off the back of my drum stool, and had to clamber back up onto my drums and carry on playing. But nobody said anything. It was quite weird. No one actually mentioned it. And I was thinking, like, did anyone see me fall off my drum stool? No one said anything. But apparently there were 20 billion people around the world watching it on telly.
It was televised, and
It was televised.
and you just fell off.
I fell off the back of my drum stool. Yeah, and just fell off onto the floor. I think I might have had a couple of beers before we went on. Can't remember. Apart from that, not really. Apart from just making mistakes, which I'm just put down to early onset dementia. No, I don't. I haven't had, touch wood,
Yeah.
too many disasters. We've had various disasters on the stage before.
Yeah.
Keyboard stands breaking, and mainly stools. A lot of stools break, a lot of chairs and stools, but that's probably because we're all overweight.
I think because sometimes when drummers say that they've made a mistake, I don't think the audience actually, hear that, or they're not aware of it.
I think the rest of the band hear it because you couldn't get 3 other people to turn around quick enough. And if I make a mistake, now I think if the drummer makes a mistake, everybody hears it. If the guitar player makes a mistake, it's just a bum note, and everyone goes, "Oh, he's not very good." But if the drummer makes a mistake, the whole band falls apart, and then the audience stop tapping their feet. And so the drummer is the most important member of the band, without
Definitely.
because they're the heartbeat. They're the heartbeat of the band, and if you just skip the beat, excuse the pun, everyone's out of time and everyone falls over, and so it's a lot.
I just love drummers, and I love watching drummers.
Mm-hmm.
It was just unfortunate that time I went to see Toploader, I couldn't see you.
Okay. You'll have to come and see us again then, won't you?
Yeah, I've got to do that. Yeah. I think, and I also don't like, a lot of fans are sort of like saying that other people are videoing and things. I don't like having it so like, above my head.
I will never understand, and having played Dancing in the Moonlight so many times in my life, I still don't understand why when we start Dancing in the Moonlight, I look up and I see
Oh, the phone.
5,000 telephones. You know, if you want to watch Dancing in the Moonlight live, there's about 50,000 live versions of it on YouTube. Why go?
Including mine.
Yeah, yeah. Why go and experience a live band and spend the whole time staring at your phone? Just don't bother coming to the gig. Just stay at home and watch it on YouTube because it's cheaper. You know, I don't. I will never understand why people don't want to live in the moment. You know, and put your phone away and enjoy what you're watching. You know, don't stare at your phone so you can then go home and watch it again and then put it on YouTube and watch it again. It's just like I don't get it. I never understand that. You know, but each to their own. You know,
Yeah. That's all. But I do need to go and see Top Loader again. I have to make
yeah,
sure that I can actually see you,
absolutely,
because
you can.
I
Yes.
think the reason I chose that position at the front is
Mhm.
I thought I was gonna go and see it, and then they put the
The
keyboard
keyboard
in
in
front
front.
of me,
Exactly.
and I was like, "Oops!"
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And with me, once I'm already in that position, I don't want to be moving about. And
No,
so,
I know, I know. Yeah, yeah. Next time, next time.
next time, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, final question is, being a drum teacher as well, what would be your advice to aspiring drummers or
Um,
musicians in general? Yeah.
just to enjoy it. Just enjoy what you're doing. Don't chase the dream. Don't only play because you want to be a famous pop star. Play because you enjoy playing the instrument, you know. And if success comes, then that's a bonus. But if you're only doing it for success, then you're in it for the wrong reason. Enjoy it because you enjoy playing the drums, you know. And
Yeah, yeah,
that's the bottom line. If you're chasing the dream and think I'm going to do that because I want to be, you know, on the stage in front of millions of people and make loads of money and have a big house and blah blah blah, then you're in it for the wrong reason. You know, do it because it's an instrument and you love playing that instrument. You know,
yeah,
and you get enjoyment waking up every morning and can't wait to sit behind your drum kit. You know, and then if you're good enough, then you'll get in a band, and if the band is good enough, then you'll start doing gigs. And if the gigs are good enough, then you'll get up bigger gigs. And if you know, one thing will lead to another. You know,
yeah,
and
yeah,
there's an element of luck, of you know, as well that goes with any success. But if you're good enough, someone will notice you, and you'll play good shows. But
yeah,
play your instrument because you love playing your instrument, and
yeah.
that's
Can I
you know.
just ask, when you were starting, was that your mindset?
No, I wanted a massive house, a big car, and loads of money, and loads and loads of groupies, and I got it. So
Oh, thank you so much.
you're
Thank you
very
so much.
welcome. It's been most enjoyable.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed that. And as Aiden says, very informative and quite humorous as well. It's like
Yes,
I
very good.
enjoyed every minute of it. I can't believe it's already been an hour.
I know. I've also missed Antiques Roadshow as well.
Oh, right, sorry.
Um,
Okay. All right.
no, I'm
Well, hope
joking.
to see. Good luck with the new album,
Thank you very much, and thank you for this.
and
It's been most enjoyable. Thanks for coming to watch us. And
yeah, and hope to see you again soon.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
this time, I'll make sure that I can actually
You can
see
see
you
me.
play.
We'll get you a big box to stand on. Yes.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Anne.
And yeah,
We'll see
have a good week ahead. So, like
you.
next week. So. All right. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
See ya. Bye. Oh, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us live. Oh my god, that was so amazing. Like, I was, the tour is finished now, but as Rob said, there's going to be festivals and also another set of dates later on this year, and it's going to be in the south of England. So, because they've done the north one, so it's going to be the south, southern areas now. But, anyways, thank you very, very much for joining us, and thank you so much to Rob Green for guesting on Ask the Drummer. I just couldn't believe it. It was like when I ask him, I thought, oh, he's not going to say yes because it's only like the next Sunday and next week. But when he replied and said he'll do it, I was like, oh my God, thank you. I mean, the drum gods, I think, are just really pleased with what I do. So I think that's why I get so lucky most of the time. Not all the time, not all of the time, but most of the time. But anyways, I'll be back next week, and I think I'm gonna have an American drummer next week. So please do keep an eye out for the guest announcement post on the Ask the Drummer page. And for those who missed the live broadcast today, I'll be uploading this on YouTube some before I go to sleep tonight. So yeah, so you can watch it whenever you want. Anyways, that's all for me for now. As always, love music, love life, love drummers. They're absolutely amazing. And I do agree with Rob Green when he said that they're the most important band member in every band. And I always say to the drummers that the reason why I started doing us drummers because they don't get the spotlight that they deserve. So now hopefully you get to hear them and their stories and everything. So thanks again, and I'll see you all next week. Bye for now. Bye.